Hello, bienvenue, and welcome in to another edition of Medicare Gurus Dojo. For those of you that have been watching, thank you for joining us this lovely afternoon. If you're new to this video, what we do here, we are a live sales floor here at Medicare Gurus in Cedar Park, Texas. As you can see, I'm here by myself. This is not the Stephen Grip show. We do have live agents that filter in and out because we are a live sales floor. So some agents will be coming in, checking in, letting us know how their deals are going, questions or concerns. And we just like to put this information out there for people to see, having great conversations that are enriching and live. So that way you guys can, get some feedback from it and take with you what you will. So today, what I'm going to begin with, yesterday we talked about the difference between Medicare Supplement and Medicare Advantage. And everything that we talked about yesterday, I felt very strong about, always. Medicare supplements are obviously the way to go. There are some disadvantages to advantages and advantage plans. But I do want to make things clear in the way that I talk to my clients is that I 100% diagnose what is best for the client. So if we're going to talk about coverage, we're going to talk about what they need. Okay. And when we talk about what they need, I'm going to ask all the questions that I possibly can: health, location, family proximity, everything that is important to them, stuff that they may be aware of, stuff that they may not be aware of. And what I do is, after I diagnose and based on the criteria that have been shared with me, I'm going to lead with Medicare supplements. Why? Because it's a superior product. That doesn't mean that a Medicare Advantage plan is bad. It just means that I want to have a superior coverage for my clients. I'm going to offer Medicare supplements first. We're going to talk about how Medicare works. We're going to talk about the flexibility and the predictability that you have with a Medicare plan and a Medicare supplement plan. But, if in the end they decide that they want to go in a different direction, and there are some certain reasons why people just can't do a Medicare supplement plan, then I'm actually going to go out of my way to make sure that they're going to get the best Medicare Advantage plan that they possibly can. I'll give a quick example, and then I'll ask Penny here about her thoughts on this. But I've been in the business for about 4 years, and a friend of mine called me up, and he said his mother is moving out of Delaware into Arizona. So he's going to move in with a family member, going to get into a home. They just want to have their mother close to family. They're going to put him in a home. So I ask questions. What is her coverage like? She's been in an Advantage plan her whole life. And they're moving to Arizona, where they have a coincided coverage with particular Advantage plans for that home. And so I went over the details of the plan. I went over the details of how the plan works. And they're going to provide the benefits for her to have a comfortable transition and that move. So that way the ease of insurance is going to be an easy transition. Now, am I going to tell them, how dare you not have a Medicare supplement? No, this is their life. This is what they want, and this is the best fit for them. And so we, figure out what the best plan is for them in terms of the Medicare Advantage, and we get them the best plan. The other service that a lot of new agents tend to forget is that now I am my friend's mother's client. So I'm able to monitor how the plan works. We're able to go over the plan in case there's any questions. We're able to change the plan if we don't like the contents or the service of that plan. But that's what's most important, is that with these Advantage plans, you do get these benefits. But the most important benefit is the agent, because these Medicare Advantage plans are designed to be transient. Then what you do is you say to them, the plans may be transient, but I'm going to be permanent. I'm going to watch over you and your family and your life to make sure that if there's any hiccups or there's any discrepancies or there's any issues with the carrier, that the carrier does the carrier thing, but the agent is going to do the you thing. I'm going to take care of you and make sure that I am watching and monitoring everything that's going on. So, thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, that's beautiful. And I had a prime example today of someone that was so grateful to have that for the first time ever, because he had been on an Advantage plan for quite some time. this year, he doesn't even know how it happened, but he's already been changed 3 times. Obviously not to his wishes. He had no idea how that had happened. And so after lengthy conversation about what we do here, who we are, what, that he needs to just stay where he is on his current plan the rest of this year. And it's going to be fine. He doesn't have any, his doctors are in network and everything on the one they changed him to that he didn't even know about until recently. So it's going to be fine. And he probably can't even make a change now because of all of that activity. He probably can't make a change anyway,
right?
For himself. But, after our nice conversation, we have an appointment to talk in October when he would be able to set himself up for next year.
Right.
And I told him he may be in the right plan for him without he and I combing through all the new plans, making sure this is the best fit for him. We won't know, but we're going to decide that when we talk again in October. And, he has my name and number and he understands. I said, you don't even have to do the other calls. Just tell him you have somebody you work with, take me off the list and hang up or don't answer them, whichever. But you have me. If you have a question come up, call me and let's look at it together and make sure. But it's the prime example of exactly that. It's the agent. And I said, it made me, now you don't need transportation, but if you break your leg, you may need driving help. And that may be a new thing that you need. And we can help you achieve that if that becomes a need for you. But right now, stay put. But that's exactly an example of what you're saying. It's the agent that needs to be permanent. The plan can change if the needs change.
Right.
But otherwise, he should be able to be on the same plan for a year.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to change.
Yeah. And that's, that's just the way that Medicare works, is that when you have people that are in love with Advantage plans or are unfortunately on Advantage plans, we don't want to be negative in our presentation with Advantage plans. Like, these change all the time. You have to worry about network. Like, yes, those are real things.
Yeah.
But what new agents, and I really harp on this with new agents, what new agents tend to forget, because they're still learning, is that you're selling you. When you start to learn about the business, you start to learn about the transient nature of Advantage plans. They are specifically designed to be annual plans. And they're specifically designed to be reviewed. And if your benefits or your needs change, to switch to that plan. That's why you have an open enrollment period to allow you to review the plan you've had for the year. If you're satisfied, stay. If you're not satisfied, switch.
Right.
And that has happened in the past few years. And, it is a way of seeing things when you are in Medicare and a Medicare supplement. You don't have to worry about that. You're covered for life. It's so simple. It's so easy, and then, we monitor just the cost in case there's a rate increase. It's a very simple and very convenient service for the client.
Yeah.
But to harp on this again, what new agents or sometimes experienced agents who get lazy tend to forget is that when you are talking about these plans and changing these plans, the client may be used to the change or maybe used to the nature of how things work, but they tend to forget that you are the overseer. You are kind of like, it sounds cheesy, but you're like the prophet, that you are able to see the future of how this plan is going to work because the nature of how things work.
Yeah.
It's very funny, and apologize for being late, everyone. I hate to let you know.
No quotes today.
No quotes today. I'm sorry. I was watching baseball last night. Red Sox Braves. So, we'll talk about Austin Riley.
Fantastic talent.
Boy, he just smacked one.
Yes.
In the green ball last night. That was just. It was like 110 exit velo.
Yeah.
It's like 490. It's like, Jesus.
Yeah, he's got some power.
But we were having this exact conversation out there because. And we'll get your opinion on it here, but I want to say my spiel about it first. One thing that comes up a lot in this office is the Marks system. I think Marks is great to have, but it's hella easy to abuse. Because I was talking to Kim about this, and then a little bit of rut. It sounds like she's reading the script. Okay. And just trying to help her out. But she was bringing up, this mark system, it really helps me because it tells me what I need to know, without having to go in an hour conversation. So I know if I can switch somebody, I know if I can do something. And I go, look, this is what you have to realize here. The reason that you're in a little bit of a rut is because you are thinking with numbers. You're not thinking with your feelings. What you're seeing is a person here, okay, I need to get their social, they don't have their Medicare card, okay, got their Medicare number and their social, now I can go look up what level of Medicaid they are, I can see what plan they have, I can see what last SEP they used, everything like that. Then what you're doing is you are fishing for somebody to quick sell. That's what Marks is to me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I had to tell her too. I go, look, you're trying to sell numbers instead of selling yourself. The people aren't buying the plan, they're buying access to you, which is exactly what you guys are talking about here. They're buying Kim, they're buying Penny, they're buying you, they're buying me. That's what they're buying. The product is, it has its purpose, it's there. But people don't want to talk about the product. They want to talk to the person. So if you're coming at it from just a straight analytics, I want to look at all the raw data that I can, and then within the first 5 minutes, make a decision on what's going to happen. That's where you get into a hole. So I think for Marks, I don't think every agent out there should have access. It is nice when you need it. Sometimes too, like for open enrollment, I have one this morning where I had to look her up because she went on to the Social Security website and it said she already got approved for Medicare, but she hasn't got anything. I was like, that's really weird. She's like, does it just happen automatically? I go, not every time. Because then you checked.
Right.
But we needed her MBI for her drug plan for 10-1. So that's perfect.
Right.
Because guess what?
We already
had the drug plan picked
Right.
out. I already had her drugs. I had everything.
Yeah.
And it was a T65 presentation. And I did the whole presentation, and guess what? I didn't need the Medicare number.
Right.
And that was what she was asking too. She was like, well, how do you verify, before you recommend something? I go, look, you have to start using the tools that are in front of you and know how to use them properly, like you do with the CT scans and things like that.
Yeah.
If they are on a dual special needs plan, they qualify some level of Medicaid, enough to get that plan.
Right.
If you are worried about checking their Medicaid level, go to the plan that they're in. Click on summary of benefits. See what level they have to be. It'll say SLMB plus and then all the levels above it, or it'll just say SLMB. Okay, from there, they can at least qualify SLMB plus and above. You don't know if they're full benefits. You don't know if they're QMB.
Yeah.
But you at least have that there. Then guess what? All the other plans, look up what their levels are.
Right.
Okay.
And if it's only QMB, then
exactly.
maybe you
then
need
maybe
to.
look.
Yeah.
But for her, that was kind of what she was saying. And I said, this is why people struggle, and this is why you're in a little bit of rut, because you're doing the close in the middle of the call. When you ask for that Medicare number, you could say, we'll use that example, say you have an AmeriVantage Penny and I'm trying to get you over to Humana. Doctors are in network, everything looks great. I haven't asked for your Medicare card, I haven't asked for your social, I haven't asked for your Medicaid number.
Right.
When it comes down to it, this is how you do the order book close for Advantage plans. So look at all the benefits here. This Humana plan is going to put you in a better situation. All your doctors are in network, you get better benefits, whatever it is. This is the plan for you. But I have to make sure that you can qualify for it.
Right.
So what I need you to do is go grab your Medicare card. If you have it, find your Medicaid card. If you don't, it's okay. I got another way I can get your Medicaid card. I can just look it up by state. But we do need your Medicare card. So go ahead and grab that. Let me start this, and then you let me know when you have it.
Right.
And then go into enroll. If you notice, I'm not asking for a sale. I'm not doing anything. By them going and getting their card, it's done.
Right.
They're doing it. And you ask for a checking account, that's every close that we do. They try to do order book if you can. But having that ability, instead of saying, okay, well, I already have it. Okay, here's everything Humana.
Right.
So is that okay?
Right. let me think about it.
Yeah, is that okay? No, it's not. And you can say, look, this is the best plan for you. That's what I recommend. This is where we're going to start. And then people stop and then they ask, is it okay? You're doing the close too soon. That's why your sales are not there. That is a tool, yes, Mark says, but people rely on that S word way too much.
Yeah.
It's a crutch.
I call it a boon and a bane.
It's a crutch. It's what it is for a lot
I'm
of
a nerd.
agents.
Yeah. But it is. It's very helpful, but also very detrimental to
Right.
the process of the sale.
If I have to near the end of the call because they can't find their card or they're having trouble, and we're trying to put it on the application. But we've already we're doing the sale. I mean, we're already doing it. Then I'll look it up and just make
You
sure.
close with that information.
Right.
You don't need an MBI number
Right.
to look at a plan.
No,
You don't need an MBI to put medications in. You don't need an MBI to put doctors in.
no.
You don't need any of that.
Mm-mm.
Do you need a social? No.
No.
Do you need a Medicaid number? No. You don't. So stop getting it.
It's
And it
not
goes
even on a
against-
lot of the
yeah.
applications. The social
Yes.
isn't even.
It goes against what our core beliefs are.
Mhm.
That from there, you're going from emotional to transactional.
Right.
And, even in our script that we put together for many, many years, it says nothing of, well, let me get your information
Right.
first, We just start with the basic stuff and we're going to search for a plan that best suits your needs.
Right.
When you put the plan in front of the client, you're going to lose every time. You got
When
to,
put the plan in front of the agent, you're going to lose.
Yeah.
Because the two I did this morning for one of my ladies there, we've already talked 3 times on the phone. She was retiring on October 1st. And when it comes down to it, she just called me. She was like, yeah, so I'm not doing the work coverage. We're going to do, all right, let me get pulled up. They've already established that. She doesn't
Right.
give
She
a
already
crap
knows.
that she's in Allen and the company is in Houston
right.
and it's quick mailing and there's a $20. If she doesn't care about that, she just knows I've been able to call 4 times now and I get Jacob within 15 seconds every time.
Mhm.
And he spends his time on me if I need time.
Yeah.
Or if the husband's not there or something else too. She didn't even have her checking information. She goes, my husband left with it. And I go, that's fine. It's like, no need to freak out. I've got other stuff I got to do here too. This is just the first application. We got time.
Right.
She's like, okay, let me look. I was like, perfect. I was like, don't sweat.
Yeah.
It's fine. And so then I went over to Sunfire and I started putting in her drug. She goes, okay, I found it here.
Yeah.
All right. The whole mood would have changed. She goes, I can't find my checking account. And I go, well, that means we can't submit an application.
Right.
It's the people that are about the transaction go, well, we're gonna need your checking account.
Yeah.
Right.
Not, okay, take your time, go find it. I gotta fill some other stuff out anyway. And then you go just knock stuff out with the before.
Right.
She found it. We put it in there. We got that done. And then we went and got the prescription thing done.
Yeah.
And she's so thankful. And she's like, my God, this was so hard and took so long, and was like laughing at it because she's being sarcastic.
Right. It was so smooth.
She was like, this is such a pain. She's like, and I started laughing. She was like, oh no, I'm just kidding with you. Like, this is super easy. She was like, you gave me homework from our first few calls.
Mm.
I went and did the homework. I got the answer, and then I called you back. Because I told her too, is she had an opportunity for a great retirement plan that she could continue. And she's pretty healthy too. But they had
What convinced her to switch?
she had to take out Medicare for both. So either continue she was already retired.
So was it a retiree benefit plan?
It was a retiree benefit
Okay.
plan. So she didn't think she had to take out Medicare.
Right.
They would pay for Medicare.
Nope.
She found out, nope, I have to pay for Medicare and I have this plan here that. So
Gotcha. The
For
G was
them-
probably.
for them, and this is what we've been running into a lot here recently, it was the convenience factor.
Yeah.
She didn't.
That's what it comes down to.
Her other plan, it was $57 a month and about $1,600 out of pocket. And you look at that and you go, that's actually really good.
Yeah.
That's why even from the start, I was like,
Really?
if you don't have to be on Medicare to get that plan, or you just have to be on A, you don't have to take your B,
Mhm.
take that plan all day until it runs out.
But usually with a retiree benefit, you have to have
Yeah,
B.
But she didn't know that.
Right.
So that was her homework that she
Yeah.
had to go find out.
Yeah.
But for her, and it was talking to her husband too, who's 63. So we're gonna have a conversation about a year and a half.
Right.
Uh,
That's not unless
He
you're
goes-
president of Medicare by then.
yeah. SAR, Medicare SAR.
The Medicare czar.
Uh,
Nice.
But even he would chime in too, because he goes, well, for 40 more bucks, that's a hell of a lot less work.
Yeah.
And I go,
Yeah.
He goes, and is that right, honey? And she's like, yeah, I can see that. And he goes, no, that's less work I have to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. And then I did the worst sales thing. This was like the last call that we had.
Because you're probably loving the conversation. Yeah.
I'm loving the conversation.
Right, of course.
I go, okay, I know you love it, but you still need to go do your homework.
Yeah.
You can say, I love it. I want it. I'm not going to give it to you right now
Right.
Yeah.
until you go and do your homework.
Right, and make sure, yeah.
Where a lot of people go, okay, let me get the application up. No, it's you need to make sure and do this information.
Right.
And then she did her homework, called the benefits person, came back, goes, yep, this is my G. So, okay, perfect. But all of that, none of that was transactional.
None.
No, yeah.
None of it at all. People can tell when you're actually being genuine. People buy you.
Yeah.
And then the camera here, people buy you.
Mhm.
People don't care about their plan. Because at some point, you're going to have some people that go through some pretty scary stuff.
Mhm.
Like that was the other call I had this morning. That one, I was almost crying on my desk here.
Oh,
That's
goodness.
just the sweetest little thing out of New Jersey. Absolutely love this lady. She's very religious, just super. You just want to hug her when you hear her voice. That type of sweet. Perfectly healthy. You know, she just got a rate increase with that note. So I'm like, okay, we'll take a look. We played phone tag. That's the lady you talked to yesterday, Joe.
Mhm.
And she was telling me, she goes, well, you know, plan's going up. And I go, yeah, plan's going up. How are you? You know, sure we call to check in on your plan, but how are you doing?
Mhm.
It's been like 4 or 5 months since I talked to you. She goes, well, had a little incident. I go, okay, you know, what's wrong? She was like, well, technically I died.
What?
And I go, what? And she goes, July 10th, 2021, or 2022. I go, what are you talking about? And she goes, well, she went to like the community swimming pool. Again, this lady's super, all she takes is statin,
Mhm.
just cholesterol, you know, picture perfect.
Right.
Okay. So she went to the pool and she was doing some laps and she got out and there was a few people around and she started walking to her car and she did, oh, my legs got really tired. So she kind of knelt down a little bit. Well, when she knelt down, she put her hand on a chair and she didn't say anything, but she couldn't move. She goes, I can't move.
Oh, my gosh.
So what happened was, from there, she actually had a mitral valve prolapse that basically disconnected all the electricity in her heart
From her brain.
from her
God.
brain. So her heart stopped working. So what they had to do is, luckily there was a cop and then his wife who was a nurse. They were able to get the defibrillator out.
Mhm.
They had to do manual CPR.
Did she collapse?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she collapsed.
Because you said like she held on and then,
Well, she was held onto a chair and then just boom.
okay, then fell. Okay.
As she was on her way exiting.
Okay.
So her heart stopped.
Wow.
And she goes, the next thing that she remembers is just waking up in the in the ambulance. And then she just all of a sudden just took a breath of air and came back.
Mhm.
And they were like, you didn't have a pulse, like you were dead. Your brain was disconnected from your heart. And
Wow.
luckily for her, it's kind of a realization too. She's very religious too, which is nice. But she goes, you know, it's just crazy because I was healthy. But she goes, the worst thing about it is, if I would have got in my car and started it, I wouldn't have been brought back
Mhm.
because nobody would be there for me.
Right.
You know, she was like, luckily I was on my way out and they were walking in and they were able to help me. It just so happened to turn out that they both know CPR. They grabbed the defibrillator, they got everything going.
Mhm.
She goes, if I would have started my car, we wouldn't be talking today.
Wow.
And so it's one, and now she has a defibrillator in. They didn't give her any new medication. What was so weird is they ran.
No blood thinners or anything?
No blood thinners.
Wow.
Takes over-the-counter aspirin.
That doesn't count.
Not even prescribed
Yeah.
aspirin.
Yeah, it's anti-stroke more than.
Yeah, seriously.
So for her, it's crazy because when they took her to the hospital, she was still in an ambulance, and they even asked her, "Where do you want to go?" And she was like, "I want to go to this hospital. It's a cardio specialty hospital."
Mhm.
So they run every test, and they're like, "Your heart is perfectly fine." So they can't figure out like what the heck happened.
There was just a disconnect.
Why is it such
Wow.
a freak?
A random
Yeah.
disconnect.
So
Wow.
they put a defibrillator in. She's perfectly fine now. She goes back. She gets tests. She's been I think through like 2 rounds of testing.
Mhm.
She's perfectly okay. But that phone call was not about selling her.
Mhm.
It was about maintaining a relationship and checking on her because she doesn't call anybody else for help. She only calls me. I'm her person for it, that she knows she can call, she can get a hold of me. And I'll reach out to her and I check on her. None of that was about numbers.
Mhm. No.
None of it. And then I told her how like I got sick and how I had like C. diff, and then how we thought Michelle almost had a heart attack. Going through stuff like that. We kind of bonded over those experiences, and we're just thankful that she was still here. And she was thankful that I was here. And I was like, well, that didn't happen to me. And she was, well, I am thankful for you though. But all of that was not about a rate increase.
Right.
It wasn't about let's lower your premium. It wasn't about let's get you, X, Y, and Z. None of it. And at the end of it, was after like 30 minutes of she was telling the story, and I just couldn't speak. I just shut up.
Yeah.
Because she was going through everything. And I go, look, this is just the insurance guy in me here. This isn't Jacob. This is Jacob of Medicare Gurus here talking. You didn't have any bills, did you? And she goes, oh, absolutely not. And I go, okay, perfect. I just had to get that out of the way. Continue.
No,
Yeah.
it was perfect still.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's it.
Yeah.
That's why we do it.
Right.
That's how to do it. It's not analytical. It's not, did I need marks to make a relationship? No. You don't need any of that crap. And so I'll get off my soapbox here. But it goes back to what's probably still on that board. People don't remember what you say. People don't remember what you do. People remember how you make them feel. And it's either they feel safe or they really enjoy talking to you. And marks can't make you feel.
No. You said something yesterday that I want to piggyback off of. It was like late afternoon. And you said, you just kind of like made this announcement on the floor. You're like, man, it sounds like no one is having fun. People are on the phone and it sounds so business and transactional. And, it's tough when you're in a rut, or it's tough when you've had back-to-back zeros, or you've had some tough calls like all agents do, but when you're not having fun with these people on the phone, and I'm not saying like, giggle fun or, just laughing around like, COPD, that's hilarious. Like none of that, You're like,
Don't have too hard with it.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, because then you'll cough. But no, but agents tend to forget that yes, we have a responsibility, we have a fiduciary responsibility, but like you want to enjoy talking to these people because these people are the ones that we're talking to, that they are either, very upset because they're getting tons of calls, or they're having health issues, or the people that they've talked to have been transactional.
Right. Exactly.
And I feel like when you're coaching an agent and you say, have more fun, you don't want to hear that. You're like, I'm a fun person.
Right.
The agents here, our floor is very, we have a lot of charismatic agents.
Yeah.
It's very enjoyable to hear agents when they're having fun,
Right.
having good conversations.
Yeah.
It's hard to get back to having fun when you're not at the sales level that you want to be at. But you also have to convince yourself, I will get there if I start having fun again. Because the client will pick that up, that, oh, this person enjoys what they do.
Right.
And it sounds like I want to continue talking to this person because they're enjoying what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm able to divulge more information as the calls come along. See, a lot of new agents that I've worked with, they forget that if you're going to have an hour conversation with somebody, which you plan to do, when you are going to do a sale, whether it's an Advantage plan, or a supplement, whatever it is, that a successful call ranges between an hour, maybe an hour and 30 if you're doing it right for Medicare supplement, because you got to do underwriting or whatnot.
Right.
But they have to understand that in the scope of this call, that at the first 30 seconds of the call and getting into the call, your mindset and your approach to talking to this person, as well as the reciprocity of that client talking to you, is going to completely change in the next 10 minutes. Because you have talked to them, you have warmed up to them, you have built a somewhat rapport with them, and they feel safe to divulge more information.
Right.
I'm not saying they're going to love you, but you've done the right job to build that right rapport.
Yeah.
And that rapport and that relationship is going to absolutely change in the next 30 minutes because they're not sitting there thinking about their diseases or their medications. They're thinking, okay, I'm talking to this person. This person knows what they sound like. They care about what is going on. So I'm going to talk to them about how this plan is going. It doesn't matter about the plan, but I'm going to divulge personal information.
Yeah.
Like, how crazy is that? I've talked to this person for 15 minutes, and in the next 10 minutes, I'm going to tell them my personal health issues, my health history,
Right.
the medications that I take. You know, a lot of new agents get upset when they're like, oh, this person said that they were healthy, they had 10 medications. What do you want them to say? Oh, I'm dying.
You're right.
How are you doing? Oh, I'm dying. They're not going to say that.
Here's my 10 medications.
Here's my 10 medications because I take terrible care of myself. They're not going to say that. I'm not too bad. They're probably great. You know why? Because they're on 10 medications.
Right.
Their heart can beat at a normal rate.
Right.
They can walk. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have, like, when they are like that, that means that they're going to be nervous about talking about their health.
Right. Right.
But that is our job to make them feel comfortable to divulge that information, because our goal is supposed to be, we want to make sure that you're taken care of. And the only way to do that is for us to open up about what your current health is.
Right.
We are not here to judge.
Right.
You could take, your client that had 35 medications.
Mm-hmm.
You're not a doctor. That's not your job to say, that's a lot of medications, and you got, both of y'all did fantastic with being patient with her.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it too, for new agents, you have to be interesting to get them interested.
Yes.
That's number one. You gotta have personality. But number two, really, where you see a lot of people struggle is they want to get good at the intro and they want to get good at the close.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want the fluff in the middle. The fluff in the middle is where the close actually closes.
Right.
It's not down
Right.
here. And so for people that are struggling, they're like, well, I'm not closing anything. I'm not selling anything. I'm not selling anything. You have to look from start to finish. If you're not doing this, then you're not doing something in the middle well enough to get to that point.
Yeah.
That's like, I had to ask, I go, okay, you're saying I haven't been selling anything. I'm in a rut. Okay. How many scope appointments have you gotten signed?
Mm-hmm.
If you're not even getting scopes signed, then there's an issue that we need to talk about before why you're not closing. Because that's the last step before you start recommending plans, everything like that. So if you can't get the scope done, then there's something in the discovery that's not working.
Yeah.
Right.
And all these new agents, they just want the intro and they want the end. They don't want through the process. If you are struggling, if you're failing, you need to work backwards instead of trying to improve at the close. Because at that point, if you're at zero, you're not getting any chances to close. There's nothing to close if you're at zero.
Mm-hmm.
If you're at 1 or 2, okay, you're having some chances. But if you're at 0, you've had no chance. You haven't given yourself a chance.
Yeah.
So you have to work from the front to the back. You can't fix D without fixing C first.
Yeah.
You can't fix C without fixing B, and an A being the very intro to
Yeah.
it. And that's where so many people, they only want to specify it in the intro. So if you notice, all those people out there that sell books, that do videos, whatever it is, use this line, use this trick to pick up the hot girl, the hot boy.
Mm-hmm.
Use this for B2B sales. Ask this, hey, I know you probably get a lot of cold calls. So you can either hang up on me now or hang up on me later. I can tell you what I got here.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Those are quick schemes that are only for the beginning and only for the close. Nobody ever teaches how to do the middle.
Yeah.
And that's the most important part. So if you're anybody out there, if you're struggling with closing, it's because you're not working on the actual middle portion. Because the close, if you do everything correctly from A, B, C, all the way to D, the close, they already want it by the time you get to C.
Mm-hmm.
They want you. They don't care about the product. We don't hard close anybody here. You don't see us walking around for 45 minutes after we've already done everything. Well, why don't you do that? You should, whatever it is. We don't have to hard close because we close in the middle.
Right.
Sorry, got hot.
Yeah. Well, being a mentor yourself and then me being a mentor and a coach for many years, the hardest part about teaching an agent, whether they're new or experienced who are struggling, is build more rapport. Any type of training, they'll say, okay, you got to build rapport with your clients. You got to build rapport with potential customers. And when you have agents that are below their goals or they're struggling to get something on the board, you say, well, build better rapport, and people are like, well, how do you do that? Well, you want to be a mentor, you want to be a coach, you say, Penny, you just got to be cooler.
Right.
You got to be,
I got stories.
I've been listening to your call and I would not buy from you if you tried to sell me the easiest thing to sell, and that's not true. You are wonderful. I'm just using you as an example.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
no, I got you.
But that's the problem, is that it's very hard for people to understand when they're struggling or they're new, that people don't buy the product, they buy you.
Right.
Also, just real quick, hate to interrupt here. I hate people that say, well, I did build rapport and it's 5 minutes.
Yeah.
That's not rapport. That's well, how's the weather today? Well, man,
Right.
It's hot. Yeah, my grass is crunchy too.
Yeah.
Feels like I'm walking on sandpaper. All right, well, what plan do you have? That's not rapport.
No.
Yeah.
Rapport is one thing I love to do, and I'll tell people too that are brand new from the start. I go, look, you get me in the right mood, just talk.
You?
Yeah, shocker.
You are.
Shocker. I was like, you give me in the right mood, I just talk. But like today, the T65 I did today, she was referred over to me, so it's already warm. But she hasn't fully bought into me yet.
Right.
Her friends do that absolutely love me. They invite me to their family picnic every year. Sorry guys, I'm not gonna go. But they're just cool. And so when they referred her, she was like, hi, I'm, Sandy. Charlie referred you over to me. I'm looking into Medicare. Okay, perfect. Introduce myself, and I go, okay, just letting you know, a bit of a talker. Okay, she goes, my husband's gonna love you. He doesn't shut up. And I go, we'll be besties. Okay. But then I tell her, be like, that's so funny. I've got such a great story about Charlie. So Charlie, I remember I was helping her with whatever, just go through the story. Yeah. And that's the line that I use. I cut off so many things that I'm doing, and you might think it's crazy if you actually listen. There's a reason why. That if we're going through medications and they're like, pants appraisal, and I go, okay, write down as a hey. Okay, I got a funny story about that one. So we used to go to this place called Fazoli's when I was a kid. We played these basketball tournaments in Waco. And it's like the only thing they have, all the breadsticks, whatever. But then it gets to the point where it's like, so every time I hear that medication, I think like that's something on the menu of Fazoli's.
Right.
And that might be medication 3, and we still have 20 left to go.
Right.
But at that point there, you're not doing the transactional, give me your meds, give me your checking account. You're making it more interesting.
Yeah.
Then read down the list. Okay, this is what that's for. Okay, here's the milligram, how many times a day? Okay, the next one. Okay, the next one. Have to be interesting for them to be interested.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just, you can never build enough rapport. Can't.
So let me ask you this question on your philosophy, this and your thoughts on this too. What are your thoughts on putting, and you talked a little bit about this, but I want to hear some more on this. What are your thoughts about putting a new agent who's just, whatever, they might have Medicare experience, but they're new to the business, sitting them next to a veteran agent, listening to calls?
You have to be very selective.
How so?
Because you've seen this here too sometimes, where if you do sit next to a bad apple, or you sit next to somebody who has bad habits, or if you listen to somebody who has bad habits, you pick up those bad habits. Newer Medicare agents it takes a hell of a lot of work to train. But it is funny when some of the newer people who don't know really the ins and outs, they don't know what Marks is. They don't really know the different levels of Medicaid. They know how Medicare works, but they've never really done Advantage plans. Those people perform much better coming in like that than somebody who is seasoned off the street.
Mm-hmm.
Because they have all these tendencies. They already know everything exactly how it should be, and they bring that in. Now, they could be shortcutting the process. They could be doing whatever it is that they're doing.
Right.
But when you have this new person come in, they don't need to know those shortcuts. They don't need to know what Marks is. They don't need to know to go to the Humana portal. It'll tell you what level of Medicaid they have and when the Medicaid started. You can go to Cigna. If you're an MBI, they'll tell you their plan and if they're LIS. They're going to hear all that, and it is going to go in here, and then they're going to screw themselves over
Right.
by doing it.
By shortcutting.
By shortcutting.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it is beneficial. It's very beneficial to have them sit in. It just has to be with the right person. And every time we do it, like if I'm doing a Medicare presentation, I follow the script pretty much.
Mm-hmm. You still have it up.
I have it up every day.
Yeah.
It's a tab that I never close.
Yeah.
When I go into it, or if somebody's with me, I'll go, okay, I do, hey, Jake, Medicare Gurus, what's going on? Okay, we're doing TC5. Okay, perfect. Let me make sure you have this information. I'll pull up the script. I'll go through the script. And everything I ask, I'll put in CRM, make my notes, and then say, all right, pull out a piece of paper. And then I'll tell the person, pull out a piece of paper too, so you can do this. And it's just doing it the right way without saying, I don't even know if I can sell this guy yet. I got to figure out if I can. And then I got to figure out what I'm going to sell him right from the get-go. And then I'm just going to offer it to him.
Yeah.
After you talked about the crunchy grass.
After you talk about the country guy.
Right.
Yeah. But it's
Because that was your report part.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I did report. I asked him how hot it was.
Yeah.
But that's what it is. It is very beneficial for newer agents to listen.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to listen to the right person.
Mm-hmm.
I think process-wise, I'm probably a process guy. If you want a underwriting wizard or knowledge about Medicare supplement periods, enrollments, things like that, you look at Brad. If you want a building a rapport, you look at closing, that's probably more Frank. If you want to look at rapport and Medicare Advantage knowledge, that would be you.
Mm-hmm.
But so sitting with everybody that has their own specialty to pick up just a little bit. But I don't want to make it Stephen Britt 2.0.
Right.
I don't want to make that. I want to make you are your own person.
Mm-hmm.
You are going to have your own style. We're just here to kind of add some tools to your belt that you can use. But at the end of the day, the process is still the same.
You're still selling you, not I'm selling my friend Jacob or my friend Steven or whatever. You're selling yourself, which is the important thing. It's your version of, who you're going to become here.
Well, who you're going to become, but how you're going to service people.
Right.
People want to know that they're going to be taken care of. Like, again, I laugh because the ultimate sign that people respect you and respect what you do and what you bring are the people that call you before they go to the emergency room.
Yeah.
They're the people that call you before they order an ambulance to come pick them up. Because you are their safe haven. I make that joke all the time. They ain't talking to anybody else. If they call you and they think they're having a heart attack, they are never, ever talking to anybody
Right.
No.
else.
Yeah.
Because they just want you. That's a tip for everybody here. We got a phone call thing. We'll ask Penny here in a second. But just be you. They're buying you. Okay.
Yeah.
Penny, what's your opinion about that? Somebody new starting and listening to phone calls, like live phone calls.
Yeah, I think that can be a hard thing if they don't have enough background to pick and choose what they're hearing. I mean, use what they hear or not use what they hear. Or if they don't ask enough questions about, well, I heard so-and-so doing plant marks or whatever, because that's been our topic today. And like you said, I have the ability to do that, but I don't do that. If I absolutely have to at the end, because they're saying, can you look it up for me? I'll do that at the end to get it on the application or something if they, but I do plenty of those apps without ever looking in that because of the fact that you already know you don't need it unless at the very end you need help finding, they can't find their number or figure it out for themselves or something. But other than that, you don't need it. So, but it is, I think, maybe for some new agents, I think it's challenging figuring out what are the useful tools that they're hearing and what might not be useful. And if they don't have a resource to say, so is it a good idea to pull up, get those numbers right at the beginning? Or, if they don't know to ask, I think it can be very dangerous, like you say. And I think that gets people geared towards that short, okay, I've already talked about the grass and the weather's hot, so I can move on now. And then that's not rapport. That's not what you're selling. It's not, like I had a 45-minute call earlier today with the gentleman. I already knew in the first 5 minutes or so, oh, he can't be switched. I didn't have to look up marks to figure that out. I already knew he couldn't change. But we spent 45 minutes together. I know about his kids. I know what's going on. I know he has a cardiologist. I know, all kinds of things. Did I ask him all that? No. But we spent time rapport building and talking about how it was that he got switched and what was going on in his world. I know he teaches martial arts. I know all kinds of things, So, I'm just saying the rapport, again, it's that learning to sell yourself. That's what we did. That's what we worked on, the two of us together. And so when we talk in October, I'm pretty sure we will find something that's an improvement for his situation. But he can stay where he is. Either way, I sold me in that 45-minute conversation.
And real quick before you ask your question, just so everybody on here knows, rapport is not minute 2 through minute 10 in the phone call.
Right.
It can be minute 2 through 10. But it's also minute 13 through 20, 21 through 24.
It should be interspersed in your whole everything.
Broken up. So just because you talk about yourself for 5 minutes, you're not done talking about yourself.
No.
Keep talking.
Yeah.
What was your question?
I'll pose this to both of y'all.
Okay.
Something to think about. And this is for new agents. This is to help new agents to put in perspective. I'll start with you because I started with you last time. Think about a major purchase that you, not like a house, but think like a television or maybe a vehicle. Who would you rather buy from? An inexperienced new agent you like or an experienced agent you don't like?
The agent I like. It's what I talked about when I was doing my solo job. Is that, you can throw around whatever figure agent you are. I don't give a damn.
Right.
When my parents go on Medicare, I don't want to be their agent.
Right.
I'm pulling Frank Bryan here. Where it's like, oh no, I've got family members. No, you take care of my family.
Right.
I don't want to be the agent because if there's a problem, I don't want them to call me. I want them to call you.
Right.
But I'm going to do the same thing. Where I'm going to find somebody that I know is going to take care of them, but isn't just going to be there 3 months out of the year and then leave.
Right.
Or doing it for 2 years and they leave and we never hear from them.
Right.
Somebody who that they are going to like.
Mm-hmm.
And if you see this, the people throwing out 6-figure, 7, 8, 10 figure, whatever figure. If you put figure, that's God. But I'm not looking at that guy.
Right.
That guy's more worried about scuffing his Louis shoes or scratching the boat, whatever it is. I want the guy that doesn't have to put or boast about, well, I've sold 6 figures. I've sold. How many people love you?
Right.
Because you can sell 6 figures and be an absolute a-hole.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, you can say, well, look at my commission check. Look at how many hundreds of thousands of dollars in premium I sold this year. Great. if none of those people love you, that's all going to drop next year.
Right.
You're not going to recoup that. But the people that are like, look, this is a relationship that we're building. It's not a sale of a product.
Right.
I'm not a 6-figure, 7-figure agent. I'm your agent. It's like FUBU.
Mhm.
It's for us, by us. Okay. I'm the agent for you. I'm your agent. Now,
That's a great clothing line, by the way.
I also, that's like us too. It's FABA, for agents, by agents. It's on the sleeves. But
Right.
Nice.
Right here.
yeah, FABA, right there. But it's the one to where you can tell a whole lot about a person, how they present themselves, and how they are reviewed online. If somebody is throwing around their money, if they're throwing around how much they sell, everything where they say, oh, look at this figure here. I don't want my parents to have that person. I want my parents to have the person that my dad can just call and talk to.
Yeah.
That's who I try to be. Or if they have a question, they can just call and talk to him. You're going to get him. He's going to make you feel warm and fuzzy inside. But at the end of the day, he might not be the top earner. He might not be a 6-figure, 7-figure, 8-figure agent. He might be a 5-figure agent, just for his life, or her life. But they love what they do. They're a great person. They don't boast around, stick their chest out. They are there because they want to help people. They're not there for the paycheck. And you can see those people real quick. The ones that throw around the figures are usually the ones that are there for the paycheck. They're not there for the person. Because then you have to show off, well, look at how much I've sold. We all sell.
Mhm.
We're all still going to sell. And you sell every day. You have to sell yourself every day. You wake up. But if that's your only tool, well, look at everything I've done. I'm such a great person. I tell you what, you're not getting my business.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the one thing that new agents are never taught, or they immediately forget as soon as they get on the phone, is that it does not matter. The person on the other line does not know your level of expertise. They'll pick it up, but they don't care. And that was when I first started out. I studied I'm a learner, so I studied the ins and outs of Medicare for like every night. I loved it. And guess what I wanted to do when I got on the phone with people?
Let's talk Medicare.
I wanted to share my knowledge of it.
Right.
Let me tell you something. In 1963, when Medicare first started, let me tell you how it broke down.
Okay, that's
Hello?
Jake,
Hello?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I said this before, it took me a good minute to
Yeah.
realize, oh, they like the grip that is personable and likes to talk about stuff and cares and listens about my needs more than my knowledge. My knowledge will come when it's needed.
Right.
Right now, it's not needed.
Right.
They just need some help, and they just want to have a conversation.
Yeah.
And that's all they're really wanting, is they want to make sure that the person that they're talking to, they can trust. And in order to get the trust, they have to be interesting, what's the other way? I messed it up.
You have to be interested.
To be interested.
To
Yeah.
get them.
So that's what helped me become a top agent, not because of my knowledge or expertise. It's because my groundedness
Right.
to just have conversations.
Yeah.
I spent more time reading about other stuff that I learned from my clients. Like I talked about the other day to a client from Louisiana. Do you know that people from Louisiana love talking about cooking? They love it.
That's why I love Louisiana.
Yeah.
Oh,
a lot of
my
good
goodness.
food in Louisiana.
So what I did was I studied Louisiana cuisine and restaurants in New Orleans. And before I even start talking about plants, I'm start talking about beignets, and I'm start talking about
Oh yeah.
Jackson Square.
Yeah.
Not
The
because
history museum on Jackson.
oh my
Square.
goodness, not because I'm trying to win the clients. It's because I enjoy talking about it.
Right.
It comes
Fun to
out.
talk about.
It's fun to talk about.
I heard somebody here, everybody say, but you have to be genuine with your questions.
Yes.
So like if I'm talking to somebody, I frequent Louisiana a lot. I frequent South Louisiana. I'm not a North Louisiana person. It's a different culture.
Right.
It's a different vibe.
You're by the water.
But I know a whole lot about the towns there. So what I'll do is I'll look somebody up and I'll give them food recommendations and they'll give me food recommendations and everything like that. And I'm just going on Google and we're
Right.
just chatting. But you can tell when people are genuine with it and when they're not. You can tell when somebody's just trying to throw a little extra fluff in there. Because I heard somebody just say, "Oh, you're from Louisiana. How close are you to New Orleans?" Every person they talk to.
Oh, well.
How close are you to New Orleans?
Yeah.
It's like, that's all you know?
Yeah.
Like, you can't, diversify yourself.
Yeah.
Like Wu-Tang said, diversify your bonds.
There's our song. There's our song reference.
Yeah.
Love it.
Song reference of the day is Wu-Tang instead of Genesis. But
That's our goal now, so have a song reference every 2 weeks.
There you go.
It's just so basic.
It is.
That's why, and y'all are going to laugh at me. A lot of the stuff we do here, carries over to home too. Michelle wants to get a bigger dog when Maggie passes away. Maggie, who's met everybody here.
Yes,
Yeah.
we love her.
Little sweet ball fur.
Yeah.
She's going to die.
Yeah.
Yes, unfortunately.
Years,
Yeah.
And it's not health related. She's just getting a little slower. She's getting a little blinder.
Mhm.
We know it's coming. So Michelle wants to get another dog. And you know what she wants to get is either a Labrador or a Golden Doodle. And I go, absolutely not. And she goes, why? I go, everybody and their brother gets a Labrador or gets a Golden Doodle.
Mhm.
We're not a basic family. We need some flair. We need some spice thrown in.
Hey,
you have to have it.
nothing wrong with those dogs.
Nothing wrong.
We love dogs.
We're a very dog-friendly office. We love
Yes,
dogs.
we love dogs.
But I was like, we need something.
Very common purchase.
Yes.
I agree.
It's a very common go-to.
Yes.
Where, no, we got to get something with a little spice.
Yeah, little personality.
And so when people are asking questions like, oh, how close are you to New Orleans? Or Texas, boy, it sure is hot there, ain't it? Or Washington, state of Washington, or state of Oregon. Man, is it raining today?
Yeah.
It's always raining, ain't it? Yeah. Boy, that's great. That's so common. You hear that everywhere. Be interesting.
Yes.
Come up with a new question. I have a list I have a note on my computer of different restaurants in South Louisiana that people recommend me.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is, we start talking about food and culture and everything like that, and I'll ask them questions about their area, but more specific because I'll go into Google and I'll look it up.
Yes.
And I'll just find questions to ask.
Yeah.
And wow, it's a whole lot more personalized than just saying, oh, well, how close are you to this? Like I told that one story one time about I was looking up a lady's doctor, and it was her cardiologist's office. I was trying to find out where her cardiologist was. And there's this like chicken shack place that's like 2 blocks down. And I'm looking on the map, and I'm like, what's this chicken place? She goes, what'd you say? And I go, oh, never mind. She goes, no, what'd you say? And I go, okay, like I'm a small guy, I'm a big guy here. And as I was looking for where the cardiologist's office is, there was like this chicken place that's like 2 blocks away. And I was like, man, that's a really cool name. So I clicked on it while I was talking to you about your health. And I started looking, and I got hungry because it looked good. And she goes, it is good. And I go, you've been there? She goes, oh, my brother loves that place. And I was like, what do they do? It was some like chicken disco. That's what I call it. I was like how chicken disco. Like, it's not basic.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not simple. It's showing that you actually care.
Yeah.
And you're not just fluff.
You're having an actual conversation.
I'll never
where
forget.
She's telling you something, you're telling her something, and you're like, oh, cool. That looks great, whatever, but it's genuine.
Yeah.
And you're having a real conversation.
I'll never forget that feeling because you're talking to these people and you're having such great conversations with them that you have to go back to selling. You're like, I'm sorry, but we have to go back to why we're on the phone. I'm sorry. I'm sorry we have to do that. And they're like, oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, let's take care of this. You know who's really good at that is Frank. Because Frank knows everything. But he'll take it to the extreme where it's like, all right, we've talked at length. You want to do this? They're like, oh, absolutely. Because why would I go with anybody else? You know everything. And I aspire.
Everything about everyone.
I aspire to be Frank. Frank, if you're watching, I aspire to be you. Not entirely Frank, because there are some flaws you have. But what the point is that yes, you got to have fun. You got to enjoy what you do. Yes, these people, you're going to come off some grumpy gusses, and it is not your job to fix them, but it's your job to make them understand that, hey, you're talking to me, I'm talking to you. Let's be present right now and figure out what you need. I can do anything you need me to do regarding your insurance. Maybe we can't move because it's not an SEP, but I'll be able to figure that out.
Yeah.
And I'll be able to help you when you need to be helped. And I need you to understand that you are the ones that are talking to me, and I am the expert, and I'm here to help.
Yeah.
So I want to add one thing before we leave too.
Yes.
Because we're just talking about fun.
Yes.
Do you know what I like to do consciously on the phone is?
What's that?
I'm going to make you guys laugh.
Yeah.
Which is something random I said.
Yeah.
Like one of my favorite games ever is Chris, who's one of our admins. He just has this real funny, like,
Yeah.
He does.
like a little kid that got in trouble laughing.
Right.
Yeah.
I will specifically point at him or slack him and be like, hey, listen to this here. Just so he can hear me say it.
Right.
Because he will just die laughing. Like I was talking to a lady one time who was from like Houston, and I was getting her address, and I was like, hey, listen. He goes, okay, so he starts listening. I go, oh, you from the real H-Town, huh? You from the 281-330-8004 phone. And she was like, hit Mike Jones up on the low. This old lady. And
She did not say that.
and Chris is like, what are you doing? And it's like,
No way.
you know, I could have been like,
Oh
oh
my
my gosh. The Astros. No, it's like, I threw in a Mike Jones, I rapped Mike Jones lyrics
Yeah.
with a lady from Houston that is a senior that is on Medicare.
Yeah.
Nobody else is going to do that.
No.
Or like the rock star thing, where after they do the Stover assignment that you started doing here, they're like, you're a rock star.
Yeah.
And then you just hear people go, you know what, I am.
Yeah.
I am. That was hard.
Right.
It's really that hard. But they go, that signature was hard.
Yeah.
You deserve a reward here. You're
Right.
a rock star. You get a sticker.
Right.
Like,
They love that. They love
That's
that.
great. Or the one I did today with the lady when I signed off. I was like, all right, it's official. Like a referee with the whistle. You're good for October. And that's when she did the, oh, that was tough.
Yeah.
and then laugh. But it's fun for me to make you guys laugh while I'm also on the phone with somebody else.
Yeah.
Or if I have something dumb come into my head, like with when Stefan was on the phone and the guy was like, yeah, I'm pretty healthy. And I'm like, well, my wife's pretty cute, but after a few drinks, she turns prettier. Okay?
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I can never say that. And I was like, I'd say it.
Right.
I don't care.
Right.
I'm having fun here.
Yep.
It's fun. Make everybody laugh.
That's it.
And then cry sometimes if you have to, too.
Yep. Be real.
Right.
1, 2, 3. Be real.
Yeah, be real.
Have you
That's
heard of
right.
the Be Real app?
No.
So it's a new social media app. This is kind of great. So we'll end on this here. But what they do is they try to be like away from like staged photos and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
And so what it does is once a day, you get a random notification from this app. And what you have to do is you have to take a selfie,
Uh-huh.
and then you have to take a picture of your surroundings. So the
Like a
app-
360?
kind of like a 360 or just like what's in front of you. Or
Oh,
what's
okay.
behind you.
Gotcha.
So it's kind of like it's like an actual check-in. So you can't be, okay, let me get my hair done. You can't be perfectly posed and stuff. You know, I'm sure there's some times where you'll get the notification,
Right.
Uh-huh.
but you have like 5 minutes to post it or else it locks you out so you can't see everybody else's feed for the day.
Wow.
So so we could be doing this and I get a notification on my phone from Be Real and it's like, all right, I have to take a picture of myself and then a picture of what I'm doing and then post it. And then you have access for like until the next time you get the notification. But if you miss a notification,
And you can see other people's Be Real
Yeah.
posts?
yeah. So it's actual people being real.
Mhm.
It's not photoshopped.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not, pictures from a vacation that were 3 years ago. It's literally you have 5 minutes to take this picture, you're locked out.
So what do you think the purpose is?
To get away from the Photoshop pictures and to actually
Yeah.
show what you're doing
In real life.
in real life instead of, because it was one of the podcasts I was listening to, it was a bunch of stand-up guys. And one guy was talking about his, between Be Real and Instagram, where he posted an Instagram picture and they were like, man, it looks like you have abs. And he was like, yeah, that's why I posted it.
Right.
Because I don't. And I said, man, that shadow looks good. Let me post this picture. That's why that picture got posted, because
Yeah.
it looked like I had abs.
Yeah.
It wasn't a real, like,
Yeah.
okay, what posted? Looks like we're having so much fun. It was like, damn, I look good here.
Yeah.
Right.
Post it. So it's like contrary to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
Interesting.
right.
Good way to end.
David,
All right.
take us out.
All right. Well, thank you guys for joining another wonderful day at Medicare Gurus. Thank you, Jacob, and thank you, Penny. We look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. Arrivederci.